What's good, everyone? Welcome in to the Sus Edwards Fantasy Football Bonanza. Today, pretty simple. We're gonna draft a couple eliminator teams, have a little bit of fun. Hopefully, these things can actually fill better than they did the other night. We're sitting on +6 right now, so if you happen to tune in, if anyone out there, pop on into the eliminator over on Drafters. $10 contest. Can't beat it. You don't have to 1v1 another virgin. Um, you can battle it out with the field against the entire pod. And may the genuine best team win at the end rather than trying to luck box a little pod luck. That ain't really the way to play it. So we'll get this thing going soon enough. Um, Training camp, man, it's really ramping up. Trying to keep my eye on everything going on to the best of my ability. You know, Caleb Douglas, the title boy of this episode, if you will. Probably not too much to dive into, besides the fact that he continues to gain steam day by day, camp by camp, mini camp. He had a little bit of buzz, but it was still quiet because Malik Willis was just genuinely not humming yet. Sounds like his confidence is growing, and again, like this should make sense. Like, dude's in a new system, right? Sure, there's pieces coming over from Green Bay, but it would be understandable that Malik Willis would need some time to mesh with his mostly shitty ass receivers. Everyone he's throwing to, he's never thrown to before. Might as well give him a little bit of an opportunity. I don't know, like July, August, to like mesh with those guys before we totally write them off. So, with that said, I think Malik Willis is going to come along just fine. Is he going to be like a top 5 passer in the league or top 10? By no means. However, I think it's fair to say he's on the right kind of development curve with this new group. And I think Caleb Douglas is the best bet in these later rounds of a guy who's going to actually matter with Malik Willis, whether it's stacked, whether it's naked, and you just need some sort of wide receiver upside late. You look at that room, you have Malik Washington going first. I mean, talk about unexciting. Just a decent athlete, but 5'8, 5'9. Not really a vertical threat. Let's see. Pre-bunked malinformant, sus you the man. Always enjoy hearing your takes. Thank you for popping in, man. Appreciate you hanging out. Hope you're having a good Friday, a good little Friday afternoon, evening, depending on where you're at. Yeah, man. Malik Washington, not really hyped on him. Uh, Smaller guy, slot receiver. Really is going to need to get there on volume if he's going to get there at all. And I just don't see the Dolphins being a high volume offense. His A dot is like piss poor low. So Malik Washington could get, a couple like PPR scammy games, but is the ceiling really there for like a bunch of 15 to 20 point games? Can he even be a Khalil Shakir? I don't know. Jalen Tolbert is apparently good friends with Malik Willis, so he has that going for him. 2 years ago, 2024, Jalen Tolbert had a decent season before he got cucked by Ryan Flournoy. I think getting cucked by Ryan Flournoy left a bad taste in people's mouth for Jalen Tolbert. However, it kind of seems like Ryan Flournoy is actually pretty good. So it's like, all right, is Jalen Tolbert the best wide receiver 3 in the league or one of the best wide receiver 3s in the league? Probably not. But can he be a wide receiver 3 in this league? Yeah, like he was actually, when he wasn't competing with Pickens and like the breakout version of Flournoy, he was a fine enough wide receiver 2 for Dallas. Now, a lot of that stack, but point being, he can get you 600 yards and a couple touchdowns, a couple good enough scores. I think Jalen Tolbert is more draftable, especially relative to his cost than a Malik Washington. I think the fact that he knew Malik Willis coming in, they bring him along, that means something. Again, Malik Washington is a remnant from the McDaniel system, 6th-round pick, just really never did enough A-dot wise for me or anything like that. Caleb Douglas, though, 6'4", about 205, 210 pounds, depending on where you look, really has a lot of the type, skill set that Christian Watson does when you look at his size and speed. A leaner frame, but he really has that crazy stride length, gets down the field in a hurry. I was surprised when I was like watching the Caleb Douglas tape, and by tape, we know that's like YouTube cut ups, right? But just seeing like his best moments, I was surprised with how well he was able to like generate yak. Like he was actually able to like make a play with the ball in his hands, which you would think for like a guy who was pretty, yeah, disrespected as like a, and maybe fairly so. I wasn't like super into Caleb Douglas pre-draft. He wasn't even really on my radar. Um, but like when I actually had the chance to watch him, because I'm like, okay, you got round 3 capital. I at least got to see what they were thinking. I was kind of impressed with his ability to like square up a defender and try to make a miss, sometimes successfully. His instincts on like a couple of runs across the middle where he like caught the ball on a slant. Like he was like making defenders miss with like good moves, setting them up well with his eyes and his, just ability to make a guy miss. It's like it was kind of surprising that he could do that at 6'4". I just, the drops have been an issue. His ability to beat press has been an issue. So I get why people are like not the most hype on a Caleb Douglas, but I'm like, you have the size, you have the speed, you have the team investment, and like the rest of these guys stink. Like why can't Caleb Douglas be the guy that this team takes a shot on, like especially in the money weeks, Now that helps you a little bit less than drafters. But I mean, he does have a real clear chance to starting in 3 wide receiver sets. And Malik Willis was a pretty decent, pretty accurate last year. Now, limited sample size, but still fairly accurate, and also fairly accurate on his deep balls. He connected with Christian Watson for a spike week. So I like the bet. It's around 18 or around 20 bet, depending on where you're drafting, at least for now. And we're getting enough good days stacked on top of each other where it's like, why not? If we're gonna do Antonio Williams bets, if we're gonna do Jeremy Bernards and Elijah Surratt's and Jacoby Lanes, which are all fine, I guess, in their own right, why are we like Caleb Douglas is not like cabal approved? Like, ooh, he didn't get the stamp of approval. Like who the NFL said, it's kind of DeJon Stribling-esque in the sense of like, well, Stribling wasn't like supposed to be the 33rd overall pick, but he was, and now we have to live in that reality. We also have to acknowledge that now it's less draft capital, but it's also a cheaper cost. It's the last round for Caleb Douglas, and he has actually a clearer path, albeit a lower volume offense, to being like a real significant contributor on this Miami team. So, there's probably going to be weeks where he's a total non-factor, but you talk about a guy, again, who's 6'4", can get down the field in a hurry really fast. If you're a little bored, you have probably better things to do with your summer than watch Caleb Douglas highlights, but he has a pretty fun couple clips online. A couple people breaking down his tape. There's a bit more to that prospect profile than I think people really realized at first. Now, with that said, I think Chris Bell is objectively the better talent, but of course he has the torn ACL. So, Chris Bell, we got to be a little trepidatious about our year 1 expectations. I think he's going to get going October or November. And again, Chris Bell's another guy, maybe by week 17, he's the one. Chris Bell's a totally fine bet, not saying don't take Chris Bell. But right now, Caleb Douglas is the one stacking days with the QB1. So I'm just going to be, and he was taking a little bit ahead. So I'm just going to be more excited about him for 2026 redraft best ball specifically. Sprinkle in some Caleb Douglas, sprinkle in some Chris Bell. I would say more underdog for Chris Bell because I think season long, you're just not going to get the accumulation you really want. And honestly, their other receiver they took this year, Kevin Coleman, little slot guy. Who's to say that this coaching staff doesn't like Kevin Coleman more than Malik Washington? Like the idea that Malik Washington is locked into any role, it makes sense that he's getting more reps with the ones right now, but Kevin Coleman's flashing a little bit again. Probably not going to be anything crazy. Probably not a massive win there, but I don't know. Kevin Coleman, Malik Washington, is there a real difference in this new coaching staff size? Again, they owe Malik Washington nothing. So as far as the Dolphins I'm drafting right now at receiver, I would say Caleb Douglas the most. I'm probably at 15%, which might sound obscene, but I just kind of was willing to take the shot, round 20, stacked with Malik Willis, sometimes not. Jalen Tolbert, far from 15%, much lower, but I think Jalen Tolbert's draftable. I think Chris Bell, more on underdog, is draftable. And Greg Dulcich is draftable. He's, there's a real chance where Greg Dulcich leads this team in receptions. Maybe it's Achane, who knows, but I think Greg Dulcich is in a pretty good spot, so I think Greg Dulcich. Another good click. We'll kind of keep our ears to the ground on what's going on in Miami again. Probably not going to be some 4,000-yard passing offense, maybe not even 3,500 yards, but I think we need to just like give Malik Willis a little bit of a shot to settle in, not worry so much about what he did in May and June with an entirely new cast, and see kind of what transpires, in July and August. So it sounds like it's trending up. They're going to be playing from behind a lot. I think Malik Willis is a fine click. I know there's a little bit of worry about Malik Willis bench risk. Um, they give him a decent amount of guaranteed money. I think like 45 million guaranteed. 2 of his 3 years guaranteed, and the concern that he would get benched, I think it's kind of important that Malik Willis came over as a collective with this whole Green Bay crew. It's a first-year head coach who is from Green Bay, where Malik Willis was, and it's a first-year GM who also came from Green Bay. So like they're all kind of in this together now. That's not to say they're tied at the hip forever and ever and ever, but I think they know Malik Willis. They have a personal relationship with him, and they're not going to be unfair to him in the sense that what are you going to do, bench Malik Willis in like week 12 or something because why, you traded Jalen Waddle and you didn't really give him a fair chance. Like everyone knows that it's not a serious receiving core in Miami, and so why would you pay Malik Willis and then bench him knowing that he was never going to have that real receiving core to show what he could truly do at his peak powers? I think they're going to give him this year to start, no matter what happens. Quinn Ewers is absolute dog shit. There's not another real quarterback that you need to see waiting in the wings. We saw Quinn Ewers late last year. We saw enough. I'm cool on that. I think they're cool on that. I think that's why they gave him $67 million. And I think they're going to give the guy, a shot. Like, you play out this year. We see what you got. If it doesn't work, cool. We're picking in the top 3, 5, maybe even a little higher in the NFL draft, and we get our guy of the future then. And then who's to say Malik Willis doesn't start, probably the first 3, 4 games next year, depending on who it is that they get at quarterback. And then, the number 1, 2, 3 pick takes over next year. But that's all to say, I don't think Malik Willis is a real bench risk. Take him with confidence. Ooh, our draft is starting. Ooh, boy. All right, let's see what pick we got. We're genuinely in there at the 11 hole. Which is arguably my favorite place to be this year. Let's see, we got DB Betts. He did not duck the smoke. I respect it. Who else do we have? I don't know if over the Rhine. I recognize that name, but looks like a lot of randoms or maybe people I don't know your username. So appreciate anyone here. If you're drafted, let me know. DB, I'm sure you're going to offer some wonderful color commentary throughout the draft if you happen to be watching. But yeah, the Dolphins, nothing too crazy right now, but I think Caleb Douglas is a guy you got to be sprinkling in round 18, round 20, depending on where you are. My boy George Halani, I think we're seeing the flippening that, despite how much George Halani is my brand, it's kind of a joke, kind of not. I think we're getting the flippening where, okay, Jadarian Price is firmly cementing himself with the ones. I think this was inevitable, and I think Jadarian Price, despite how strongly I believe in George Halani being a thing, I think Jadarian Price is like a really, really strong click in round 6 right now. Again, last year, Seattle, we had Kenneth Walker 3-4 turn, and we had Charbonnet, I don't know, round 10 or whatever, pick 110, 120, 130, whatever. The fact that you had round 3-4 turn pick and a round 10 pick in the same backfield last year, why can't we have a round 6 and a round 19 or, round 17 on underdog type of running back duo both be fine, pay off, coexist? Like, it's just kind of a silly notion that, like, we could justify a 3-4 turn in a round 10, but not a round 6 and around, a late round Halani. So I think Halani is a good pick, and I think Jadarian Price is a good pick. And it's good to see that Jadarian is, he's making some explosive plays. He's catching some deep balls, some pass protection reps to clean up. Again, I have more faith in his hands as a receiver than as a pass protector. I think Price is going to get a good amount of volume. I just don't want to – it's weird when people get into these debates of Price versus Halani. Oh, it's Price. No, it's Halani. It's like, can we just like find the reasonable middle ground and agree we're both cannibalizing like each other in this debate? There's actually value on both sides. Justin Jefferson, James Cook. I'm going to do James Cook because I just believe this is where he should be going. And if Justin Jefferson comes back to me, cool. If not, I'll take a running back that projects as well as him, if not better. I really do not feel the need in a world where Kyler Murray is struggling apparently to look that much better, if better at all, than JJ McCarthy. In a world where Kyler Murray was benched for Jacoby Brissett and was not brought back despite a shitload of dead money, I don't think we need to like be gung ho on, oh, Kyler is like totally elevating. Does he probably? Sure, but let's see him do well. Saquon Barkley, yeah, let's just do Saquon. I probably do this a lot in the main, the Cook Barkley, probably more than I should, but I don't think I have it yet in this Eliminator style situation. So we'll do that there. Yeah, Minnesota, kind of weird reporting that JJ McCarthy is arguably looking as good as Kyler, if not better. I mean, I don't have a reason to believe that they're not telling the truth, but that would say more to me about Kyler not performing than JJ performing. Um, Man, if that's the case, Kevin O'Connell might be. Yeah, it's not that he's on the hot seat. It's just like the dude's got to feel cursed at a certain point. And in fact, he probably wishes he just had Sam Darnold back and they had just paid him the $35 million per year or whatever Seattle gave him. Certainly, he would have stayed at that time, before going on to win a Super Bowl. But I don't know, man. I just think, Jefferson. Obviously, you can't dispute the talent, but like, dude, do we really? We've already baked in a lot of the upside. Like, how much room is there to run value wise on Jefferson? Now, that might look really silly. Obviously, the targets were still there last year. They weren't the most accurate targets, but it's not like he wasn't getting targeted. He was getting targeted. They were just bad targets. What if they're bad targets again? And just, the consolidation of volume to James Cook and potentially Saquon Barkley, although we are hearing a little bit about Tank Bigsby mixing in more than last year. Maybe Saquon shares the backfield a little bit more. That could be offset by the fact that new OC Sean Mannion is rumored to be checking it down to Saquon and getting him way more involved in the pass game. We're also hearing that about James Cook. So I'm totally fine going Cook over Jefferson just for the environmental concerns of Minnesota and the environmental upside of Buffalo, where, again, James Cook, tons of rushing yards the last couple of years. Great, I think like 28 rushing touchdowns the last 2 years. I think we'll probably get something similar to that going forward. Health, assumed. I think James Cook, you could actually make a pretty good. I'd made the case the other night that he should go over Genty. I think you could make a case for James Cook as like 6 overall, honestly. BTA on DB Bets coming. You already know, bro. Appreciate you, Al Boogie, popping in. You already know I got to put that work in on my son. DB Bets starts off with Jamar Chase, Drake London, and Malik Neighbors. I might low Herculeanly have to go with a 4 RB start just to really apply that pressure, but we'll see what the room gives me here. I mean, if it gives me Kyron, I'm definitely going to do that. Brees Hall is cool, but I don't know if I really. Yeah, we're going to just do Kyron here. Let me just see if there's anything else that's really calling out. We'll go Kyron. Hopefully this guy on the turn takes Brees and we can get a little bit of a running back run. I want DB Betts to have to take Quinshon Judkins at 44. That would be awesome to me. Just really make him have a bad time. If he comes back here, I might do Jalen Waddle. Well, let's see. Bye week wise, 7, 10, and 11. T. Higgins fits well with the bye weeks. Is it a death sentence if you have 2 of the same bye weeks through 4 picks? No, but why not mix it up a little bit? Why break ties to the guys who don't have the same buy. So we'll just do T. Higgins here. He's a perfectly fine pick at 38. Does he have that week-to-week consistency that you always love in the Eliminator? No, but if something happens to Jamar Chase, then he would, needless to say. And, he has a good enough spike weeks that this team will probably attack with volume at receiver. So everything will be chilling. So yeah, DB Bet starts off with the Jamar Chase Drake London start, chalky as hell. I mean, it is nice to get. Really, what's the difference between getting Chase at 3 and 4? Like, people are like, oh shit, I got like an extra pick of value. It's like, okay, and you took who you would have taken anyway in round 2. So, and round 3. But, you know, Neighbors is interesting. He's going to steam up. It's not going to take too long before Neighbors is a round 2 pick, I believe. How did I know who was taking Neighbors exactly, man? It was inevitable, sadly. But you know, he's a good pick right now. You can't deny that the health is looking much better than anticipated. Um, and so, with that being the case, we just gotta, you know, we gotta roll with what we got, right? I do like the Tootin pull up by DB there. Um, I think you could honestly take Tootin anywhere in the 4th round right now. That might sound a little silly, but with C-Rod dealing with a kind of unknown foot injury, they're saying he'll probably be ready week 1. Just doesn't sound great for C-Rod. And the whole concern with C-Rod and Tootin was like, well, what if C-Rod actually wins the job or is the 1A? And then Tootin's more like the 1B. It's like, that's not going to happen now. Nobody thinks that's going to happen now. So Tootin's a pretty good pick, and I would honestly take him anywhere in the 4th round. I think you can make a pretty good case about pulling him up to this, you know, far right side of the board, especially in this Eliminator contest where, you know, he's not going to be on the right side too much. He sure as heck ain't falling there in the 5-6 turn now. So if you want to get Tootin on the right side of the board, get a little unique, why not pull him up? You know, you can pull him up to 38, 39, 40. You know, is there really a crazy difference? If in the world where Tootin hits between him and Breece Hall, he could just score way more touchdowns than Breece Hall. So, and then he pulls up as my son. He pulls up Bucky. Love to see that from him. Bucky having a really good day in camp, really good couple of days, it sounds like. You know, knock on wood, he's healthy for now. We love to see it. Gainwell more involved in the passing game, it sounds like. Bucky doing well in the passing game, but getting a lot of rushing work. And so I think that's, you know, kind of a fair way to divide it up. I mean, Bucky last year, people forget this. Like, yeah, sure, he didn't have a lot of like goal line stuff, but I think part of that's like the function of the shoulder being hurt, not wanting to put too much on his plate with everything going on. He still had 20 touches a game, bro. Like, sure, he probably doesn't have 20 touches a game this year, but like if he had 20 touches a game, he'd be like a 2-3 turn pick. So we're already baking that in to a decent degree. Some really fun receivers here. This has really worked out for your boy. We got DJ Moore, JMO, or Christian Watson. One of them. Ooh, okay. So the dude on the turn has bye week 6 and 13. I mean, maybe DJ Moore falls back if he doesn't want to run. Yeah, let's just do DJ Moore and pray that JMO or Christian Watson come back on some nut shit. That'd be awesome. That would be a really fun start if we can get something like that going. Hopefully he's not some value hound. You know, I'm sure he would like, okay, perfect. So we're going to get one of JMO or Christian Watson here. Unique start. If I don't think I'm going to get to choose between both, but it's certainly possible. Christian Watson or JMO? JMO or Christian? Okay. Buddy is tripping over there. JMO or Christian Watson? Damn. Both are nice fallers. But JMO's even more unique. Okay, it's not that deep. Bear with me for a second. In my heart of hearts, I just fucking... we'll do JMO, because honestly, maybe Tucker Kraft falls later. I don't want to overstack on this build. And, you know, Jaden Reed, Tucker Kraft will be there in a little bit. I think I like Christian Watson in a bubble, in a nutshell, in a vacuum, if you will, straight up over JMO, but it's cool. JMO's cool. So far, a 3-3 start. No quarterbacks, no tight ends. We'll address that later. You got James Cook, Saquon Barkley, Kyron Williams, and then 3 straight. We started to piss. You know, the stream isn't at full strength, but I can definitely feel it coming out of my balls. T. Higgins, DJ Moore, and JMO. Crazy how Parker and Marv was the right double click. I mean, that's exactly what I would expect a casual to say. Now, Parker is actually a really strong click right now. I think it's becoming more undeniable for me that he is the real wide receiver 1 of that team. Bro might go crazy in this contract year if he doesn't get this extension. Even if he does, it doesn't really matter. The dude's working out like a maniac. He had a great stretch to finish the year last year statistically. He operates in the part of the field where Trevor Lawrence likes, where Liam Cohen features. I think you can also make that as a bull case for Strange as well later on. I think Brenton Strange, is he going to have like 1,000 yards? No, but he's going to have a pretty solid floor. But on Parker, I think it's all setting up for Brian Thomas to have a better year than he did last year. He's healthy. That matters a lot, right? But I think that just kind of is a rising tide that lifts all boats. And I think Trevor Lawrence will have a great year. But Parker probably leads this team in receptions and potentially yards as well. I really like Parker now at that turn. I'm taking Parker over BTJ. That's a newer development for me. Marvin Harrison, though, he's cool, but he's not cooler than JMO. He's not cooler than Christian Watson right now. He belongs probably somewhere in like the mid 60s to late 60s. He's having an up and down camp, which isn't everything. It's not the end all be all, but we don't have to pretend like Marvin Harrison right now is like a better feel good pick than JMO or Christian Watson. Now, DB says one hole is tripping right now. Oh, they're absolutely bugging. Fuck bull. Josh Allen, T-Law, and Lamar. Oh, good looking out, bro. Yeah, I would not have peeped that. I've definitely got to get a quarterback on this turn for sure. Because he is absolutely applying that pressure. Good looking out. Let's see what DB did. Carnell Tate at 69 is really nice and John Hart's. I like DB's team so far. He's always a podluck merchant. Or not a podluck merchant, just a draft room merchant. He's always getting these ADP fallers. At least I get to absorb some in this room as well. Dak goes, all right. Not really loving any of these quarterback values right here. So Chuba's falling like a rock. I'm good on that, I think. We might just apply some genuine pressure at receiver, especially as some of our favorite guys start to dry up. 676. Let's go Courtland Sutton. He's not the sexiest pick for an eliminator style, but I think he's been appropriately priced. He's fallen a couple rounds. I think we're getting a good old deal on Courtland Sutton. And again, we're just adding some more firepower, a couple more spike weeks layered in here. Michael Pittman's quite interesting as a PPR scam. Wandale, honestly. I'm not really buying the Josh Downs thing at the moment. I want to see how it all transpires on the Keenan Allen front. Again, these quarterbacks really don't brick me up in the slightest. Is there a running back pull up? Let's go Pittman and really just build out a strong flex. Maybe it applies a little pressure on the room at receiver. We don't have Ricky Pearsall really as an appetizing option at the moment. We don't really have, Alec Pierce is cool. I still like taking Alec Pierce, but the room is afraid to take him. I bet DB Betts will take him. Excuse me. But yeah, Pittman in a PPR format and an eliminator style format feels really good, especially layered in with the archetypes of a T. Higgins, DJ Moore, J-Mo Sutton. Like Pittman is a little bit of a cool 10-point, like you're getting your floor. And sure, you could say, well, Khalil Shakir could do that, blah, 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 blah. But like, I feel better about a Pittman being his team's wide receiver one than a Shakir, especially, we've made the DJ Moore bet. And there's going to be tight ends later. There's going to be other shit. So we're chilling. As it stands, DB takes Alec Pierce. I know my son like the back of my hand, but that's a good pick there. I think Alec Pierce is going to be fine for week one. I'm not worried about the injury stuff in the slightest. And Josh Downs, man, like you couldn't get me any more soft, honestly. The dude had 506. How many years are we going to do this Josh Downs breakout thing? Now, route-wise, it's shaping up pretty well for Josh Downs relative to other years, but we're assuming that's like, okay, assuming Keenan Allen doesn't join. Because if Keenan Allen does join the team, he's a better run blocker than Josh Downs. He's bigger. He's like the exact kind of guy who can suppress a Josh Downs. If he could suppress Rome Odunze and if he could suppress Ladd McConkey's ceilings, respectively, well, then I think he can suppress Josh 170 pounds, built for 3 wide receiver sets, not really a dog in 2 wide receiver sets, Josh Downs. Now, if they don't get Keenan Allen, cool. Josh Downs at 86, totally fine. I just don't think I have to play that game right now. There's plenty of drafting left. We're seeing the first veteran wide receiver signing domino to fall with Debo. And so I just don't think we really have to do the Josh Downs thing quite yet. DB gets Corum, nice add into that running back room. We're going to definitely prioritize QB here. Goff and Knicks would be a good double tap. Goff goes. That's absolutely AIDS. Get Ricky Pearsall the fuck off my screen. There's a world where we get some running backs here. Dobbins is cool. Is there anything at tight end? I'm not really into the planning. I don't really want Dalton Schultz on the Browns at pick 104. Dart Snipe is egregious. You're actually down horrendous. Nick's going is diabolical. This might be a freaky quarterback room. Oh wow, that was his fourth quarterback, the guy who took Dart. He ruined my chances of getting Knicks there. He is an absolute terrorist. All right. Well, Jordan, just as we go, we pass on Christian Watson, and then we take Jordan Love. Sometimes that's how it goes. Is there anything else? This guy on the turn has no quarterback, so all right, it's not that deep. It's not that deep. We're going to just grab Jordan Love because it's not worth falling far behind a quarterback on this team. I feel pretty good about it so far, so we'll just grab quarterback there. We might do it again, honestly, with Baker. Dobbins is really tempting, though. Is Dobbins so much better? Like, we already have James Cook, Barkley, and Kyron. Ugh. Their bye weeks are staggered well. We can make some later running back bets. Man. It's tough. Fuck it. We'll just pull up Baker. That's cool. Don't want to get too cute, Got a little bit of nice value on the JMO, DJ Moorefall. We can give a little back at quarterback. It's just not worth, you have an absolute psycho over here who has Josh Allen, Lamar, T-Law, and Dart. I've noticed that these quarterbacks in these later rounds anyway get pulled up because people really value in 20 rounds having 3 quarterbacks and eliminators. So I don't want to fall too far behind. I don't have to be at like 131 and my top quarterback on the board is like CJ Stroud as my QB2. Absolutely not. I'm much going to prefer some of these other flex options. So I think the time to get QB2, I think it was then. I think it was that moment. Let's see. DB bets, who you want next? I won't tell anybody. What the fuck? He laid out all the cards and I didn't even see it, bro. He played me like a fool. Pushing QBs, I'll take the value. All right, bro. Get ready to learn Michael Penis quarterback 2, buddy. Take JCM. I wish I would have for the bet in hindsight on some pay rake shit. Now I fuck with JCM heavy, but like structurally, I think there's going to be a flex value here at 131 that I like a good bit. Whereas Baker Mayfield, Shuck, Love, that feels like the end of a tier for me, where we've seen Jordan Love and Baker Mayfield have some great fantasy success in recent years. Packers are talking about faster pace. I really wish I had Christian Watson now, but it is what it is. So Baker Mayfield, top 5 fantasy quarterback 2 years ago, last time he was healthy. And Jordan Love, if they play a faster pace in Green Bay, he's just going to be a solid click. I don't want to have all these 14-point CJ Stroud games, all these 15-point Sam Darnold games. I'm just not really, doesn't really brick me up. And we're going to get something we like here, a tight end or receiver. So it's chilling. And maybe we do Malik Willis as well. Who knows? I need RBs, queue up Singletary for the stack. That's disgusting, bro. But I mean, I actually DB take note. I mean, get Tyrone Tracy in there. Singletary, they're calling him the new Woody Mark. Okay. I think Isaiah Likely is a jam here. I know that's not everyone's favorite click in the world. I simply take top 5 paid tight ends whose coach says that they're going to have a big year. It's really not that complicated. The dude, there's good data on tight ends that are like top 2 targets on their respective team. So what do? We take top 2 receiving options on their team playing tight end. It's just like so disingenuous to be like, oh, Isaiah Likely, he didn't produce in Baltimore. It's like, how many situations can you think of a tight end not being his top option, like on his team at that position, and then getting a top 5 contract at the position? It should tell you about what was ahead of him. Mark Andrews, like one of the other highest paid tight ends in the league. So, Higgins, Shaheed. I do so much Diggs. Let's do Higgins. Fuck it. Let's do Higgins. I don't think I have enough of him. And he's just another guy who you have the Jalen Noel injury. Is it a big deal? Not really. But, it impacts his development a little bit with Stroud building that rapport. And, it's just kind of a nice run out for Higgins in the fact that, like, Tank Dell himself isn't really practicing in full. So it's really just like as far as the guys, Nico and then Higgins. And God forbid anything happens to Nico like it does every year for 3 to 5 games, it seems. So I just like Jaden Higgins as a year 2 bet. We're pretty cheap. You can't take Stephon Diggs every time, You can't take Rashid Shaheed every time. So I got to be more mindful of mixing up those bets and limiting the exposures. So through 12 rounds now, we have a 2, 3, 6, 1 going. We got Jordan Love and Baker Mayfield. Feels good enough for now. James Cook, Saquon Barkley, Kyron Williams, all different bye weeks. T. Higgins, DJ Moore, J-Mo, Sutton, Pittman, and Higgins. 5 different bye weeks. T and J-Mo on the same. And then Isaiah Likely, tight end 1. Cool. Feel pretty good about this so far. Let's see. I don't know if they let you take 5 QBs, but I'd like to see that guy try. Drafters don't. I thought this was, well, I thought this was America. I'm in America, but Drafters is Canadian or something. So, hey, they might allow 8 damn quarterbacks for all I know. You know what I mean, folks? So we'll see what happens here. DB, he grabs the Diggs value, even though he says Diggs is ass and probably won't get a job. So that's pretty interesting to see him take him there. Kind of conflicts a little bit. Let's get Devin Singletary's name off the screen before I lose every viewer I have. That is absolutely disgusting. Aaron Rodgers, pull up 149. Okay. That is the world we're living in. Juwan Johnson, same bye week as Isaiah Likely. So it's not perfect, but he's just a good enough talent bet. I'm going to do it. Did Debo? Okay, Debo went. Got it. These running backs are fucking ass. Although Tyler Algier splitting a decent amount with Jeremiah Love at pick 155 would not be the end of the world. This dude at the turn, though, pretty likely to take Bryce Young. Okay, Bryce Young goes. Fuck bull. Never wanted him anyway. I don't mind going the double week 8 bye if that is what falls here. It's really not that big a deal. It's not ideal, but I think there's such a gap for Juwan versus these other guys. I mean, he averaged 10.5 points a game last year. I know Jordan Tyson arrives. That doesn't help, but Juwan also was breaking out with Shuck, so there's a bit of a counterbalance there. He's only got 1 tight end. All right, we'll take Juwan and assume that he probably does not take Algier. So we'll see. I guess Jalen McMillan stack. I just don't really care that much. I'm just, is it really that important versus getting like one of the last running backs with any sort of role? Like, just give me Tyler Algier. Like, I like McMillan, have a decent back of them. Stacking just matters less to me in this format. Just not as important as really tackling the pockets of value and the positional needs. Assuming you're not like going down the tier below where you believe. But again, Algier's just getting enough potential volume. Who knows? Maybe that's all fake. But surely Tyler Algier's never taken a bunch of volume from the guy who literally goes number 2 overall in the draft right now, for example. Like stuff like that has never happened before. So I'll do a 1 QB build. I don't give a frick. I run the room. Room doesn't run me. Okay, buddy? The room is about to genuinely run a train on you, bro. He really is about this one quarterback shit. He doesn't give a fuck, bro. He can get Tua, he can get Kirk, he can get wrist up. He's chilling, bro. I can survive 75% with no quarterback. That's like undeniably false, but I'll get, bro. Show the room who's boss. Take your. I'd probably peg you. You know, I've known you a decent amount. Talked to you in Discord. I'd probably peg you for a solid 5.5 inches. Flop your 5.5 inches on the table and show them you don't need a quarterback, bro. That's what this game's all about at the end of the day. Just know that yeah, now that you made your pick, there's absolutely no shot to it comes back to you at the next turn. So you're okay. Okay, Mendoza goes. Got it. Yeah, the best you are going to be able to do at QB2 is Kirk Cousins or Shedeur Sanders. So just keep that in mind as this draft develops here. But good luck with the 75% of the no quarterback thing. Anyway, we got our next pick coming up here, 179. I think the guy behind me has 3 quarterbacks, so he's probably not going to do some nut shit and take Tua. Nothing too crazy at running back right now. Tight ends, Hawkinson, Ferguson. Guy behind me, he's still got 1 tight end. Any of these receivers brick me particularly? Nah. Let's go. Let's go, my boy T. Ferg. Love a good breakout. Okay, thank God it's not by week 8. I did not check that for shit. And then we are going to go Tua here and put a bow on this quarterback room of Jordan Love, Baker Mayfield, Tua Tagovailoa. Is it the sexiest thing anyone has ever seen? Absolutely not. However, you know, we have a guy with 2 quarterbacks, another guy with 2, 2, 1, 2. So people need quarterbacks in this room. Does it really matter to pull up Tua? He's like one of like 3 guys left I feel fine drafting. So we're just going to do that. Yeah, Eli Manning, hope for a comeback. Sorry, one sec. Yeah, absolutely. Tua there. I say Eli Manning, hope for a comeback. Exactly. You know, stack him up with, you know, Drew Lock had a really good week 17 a couple years ago. Does he become a giant? Tommy DeVito, you know, he's probably making ads for Jersey Mikes and shit at this point. So who knows? Stacks with neighbors. Yeah, exactly. Tua Snipe is insane. Oh, it's diabolical. I don't know how you didn't see that coming though, bro. I obviously am a Tua merchant in my own right. Bro thought he was safe with Drake London. Fuck out of here. So, but I mean, you could get Anthony Richardson to stack with Alec Pierce. You could get Carnell Tate stacked with Will Levis. I mean, you could tell yourself any number of stories for Stephon Diggs, whatever backup you want. But yeah, you're cooked, buddy. But you know, I hope actually Tank Bigsby and Wicks are good clicks, but I don't think I don't think it was worth not having a QB2 and Kirk Cousins goes. So we genuinely applied that pressure. Bro's going to be pulling up Deshaun Watson by 35 picks. It's going to be egregious. I'm very much here for it. So we got 3 quarterbacks. We're chilling. We got 3 tight ends. We're chilling. 4 running backs, 6 receivers. There's guys here I like the rest of the way. You may or may not know some of the favorites, but we'll tackle that as it comes. Not going to let myself get sniped. It would be funny if DB Bets wanted to pull up Kalani to 196. I would very much enjoy that. But something tells me he is going to go. Who knows what he's going to do? How about he surprises me? I don't want to guide him one way or another. Hit the plane. It's over, DB. Pack bro up, man. You know, he was talking all that mess in the early part of the draft. He genuinely got hit with that pressure. I mean, many such cases. Will he live to see another day? It's hard to say. It's it's just another $10, bro. He doesn't really need it like that. He's got it. But yeah, I think we're gonna finish this build as a 3-5-9-3 probably works with Cook, Barkley, and Kyron all having different weeks, and you know you're getting 2 of them hitting every week. Feel pretty good about that. Baker is the only quarterback in week 10 is crazy. Yeah, he was at DB absolutely scrambling, taking Shedeur in the 190s. It's never been more over. Zachariah Branch would be an interesting stack. Darnell Mooney getting a little bit of buzz. Kamani Vidal, I don't know. It doesn't really brick me that much. George Holani, again, is he a league winner? No. Is he a guy with a pulse who's going to get fantasy points for probably 8 to 11 weeks? Yeah. So that's more than you can say. It's more than you can say for a lot of these guys, frankly. Um, Rashad Bateman, though, would probably be the priority over Holani. This guy on the turn, I mean, he could take either one of them. And I think Bateman has real season long projection. Holani is more of an early season volume play, advanced guy. So, playing the hits here, but I still think Bateman is a priority as long as he's in the 200s. He is simply the Ravens wide receiver 2 as it stands today. It was a round 10 pick for a reason last year. I don't need to get too cute with it all. So we'll bring Bateman up to the top. Good vibes, good vibes. This guy behind me, you could take Kalani, but it's not that deep. I think Bateman is like a legit tier break over the rest of these guys. I can't keep my wrist down. Hey man, I do love Shadur. You know that. So it's a good plan B, but yeah, not taking Tua. We're in a range where it's like, oh, it feels better to like have him fall back at 190, but it's like 180, 190. Like, who cares, man? Just get your guys. 170s even. These are all $1 players at this point functionally. So just go get your guys. Okay, the guy behind me goes. Tyquan Thornton. Ted Hurst. Pussy. You knew better than to step to the Holani boy, the OG himself. Although there's a couple other Holani boys out there who joined the movement at a similar time, but obviously I got to claim that shit. All right, George Holani, come on down on some, again, not saying he's a league winner, but on some projectable volume, help me get where I'm going type shit, like in PPR, 20 rounds. Like, he's just straight up going to have better scores than probably all these running backs in the median. So it's fine. Yeah, Tua was a generational fumble. All right, we got 2 more picks here, and I think it's fairly interesting whether we go 6th running back. I'm inclined to maybe go 6th running back if I like who it is, just because Holani's not going to be a key contributor, in the 50% advanced weeks of weeks 15, 16, 17. The Deshaun Watson handcuff is fucking insane. At least get Carson Beck, bro. I mean, damn, tell yourself a story. Give yourself a reason to get up in the morning. Get JJ McCarthy. Fuck. And they have the same bye week. God damn. All right. Hey, who am I to say? What do I know? I've only literally made one Eliminator final, so what do I know? But I think there's a couple running backs here who would break me up if they fell. Otherwise, we can really just keep adding. Honestly, we might just want to add more receivers because we didn't attack the position till round 4. Like, if we have Algier doing anything, again, drafting like we're right, assuming Algier's here and contributing in some sort of meaningful way, I think getting through those bye weeks with Cook, Barkley, I think we're fine. I think we're fine to go 2 more receivers here. Because you really, like, once bye weeks hit, like, yeah, for T. Higgins and J-Mo on bye, I think we need more receivers. I think we got to go Caleb Douglas for the mere fact that we talked about him. And I think he's going to just continue to rise now. Is there anyone else who's like a scroll down? It's kind of interesting. Jahan Dotson stacks, but I don't really give a fuck about that. But it's just like buying some routes. It might be fine. It might be an eliminator-ass click, just a couple of Jahan Dotson, 10-point games or whatever. But anything here that's breaking me up, anything that's creating a blood flow to a region of my body. Of course, Sanders and Watson in the same bye week, dumbass. DB putting the dumbass in DB as always, acting like he's not the one who did that shit. It's fucking insane. Let's lock in. We can't get distracted by 9th place teams. right now. Luke McCaffrey's interesting. He's getting rumored to be in the mix. I just want more reporting on that. It's not really locked in type shit. Kendrick Bourne's pretty locked in. Jahan Dotson's pretty locked in. I think Jahan Dotson is cool enough. Darius Slayton. We'll snipe DB on Dotson on some hilarious shit. And we'll see how he lands the plane. Maybe with JJ McCarthy. But yeah, that was fucking retarded of you to do that. 7 typo. I forget what that's in reference to. My bad. Your team is out week 6. Damn. My team? Fuck out of here, young bull. Shouldn't Canadians be good on drafters? Honestly, it's home court advantage. You would think so. You would genuinely think so. You're a funny guy. Not gonna lie, take that, bro. You already know I'm taking Dotson. That's the brand play. So that's what we're doing. All right, and absolutely, man. This shit is genuinely a hoot. All right, so we landed the plane. We'll see how. Okay, I like the air call click. I like that. That's a good click. So we land the plane with the 3-5-9-3. Jordan Love, Baker, and Tua. It's good enough. 2 week 11 bye weeks. I mean, depending on how you have 2 week 11 bye weeks on the same team, it's sharp. James Cook, Saquon Barkley, Kyron Williams, Tyler Algier, George Holani. It's a little thin later in the season, but I'm leaning on my 3 workhorses to not get hurt, right? Like, you take them, you assume James Cook and Saquon and Kyron are going to do their jobs. T. Higgins, DJ Moore, J-Mo, please, week 6, can we survive you? Cortland Sutton, Michael Pittman, Jaden Higgins, Rashad Bateman, Caleb Douglas, and Jahan Dotson. Oh, Caleb Douglas also week 6. Fuck it. And then Isaiah Likely, Juwan Johnson, and Terrence Ferguson. Feels like a perfectly decent eliminator-ass team. DB Betts with the 2.5 quarterback build, really just 2 every week, unless, I'm sure someone's going to trade for Deshaun Watson's contract. But Jalen Hurts at 76 is a really good eliminator-ass click, so that could be fine. Tootin Irving I like as a pull-up. Corum, JCM, Bigsby, and Black. I mean, if one of Bigsby or Black hit, this is pretty chillin', given the context of a really awesome receiver room. You have Jamar Chase, Drake London, Neighbors, Tate. You hope Neighbors plays week 1. He probably will. Tate, Pierce, you hope he plays week 1. I think he will as well. Diggs, Wicks, Judy. Yeah, it's just a lot at receiver and not as much at running back. But again, if your leverage plays hit, like Tootin could be a 2-3 turn guy. Same with Bucky. And, Corum leverage on Kyron is crazy. But I see the vision for sure. And then Goddard, Strange, and Eric all. So not a bad little team. I think I would lean with mine on this one. But, we go band for band pretty often. We GG's, a good draft. Thank you, Al Boogie. And I know you would call it like you see it. I appreciate it. Let's run that shit back, bro. Hop in the lobbies. Needing to fill the whole thing is fucking insane, but I mean, I guess. Hopefully it fills. 11 more is ridiculous. We'll see how fast this goes, and if it's not really cranking along, we might hop in the main. DB, let me know what you're thinking, but I was trying to just keep it to the survivors for now because it's such a fun contest, bro. Eliminator's where it's at, man. You just get rewarded for having a good team, especially when 75% of your team's advance. It's like, all right, as long as you didn't draft some dog shit and you account for the weeks you have buys well, structure, I think it's just going to work out for you. In this format more than, again, the Eliminator, people like to sweat on underdog. That's cool. I just don't want to have like an awesome team get nuked by variance on a weird week. Al Boogie, he's about to dip into some of those underdog winnings and launder it on drafters. I fuck with it, bro. I fuck with it. Absolutely. Get in here. We'll get this ball rolling. Have a little bit of motion in this room. I think people are more inclined to join if there's more people already in here. We'll see if we can get anyone else in, but that was fun. I just like drafting on drafters, man. I know a lot of people hate 18 or going from 18 to 20 rounds, but I love it, man. I love getting in the weeds of the disgusting ass clicks in round 20 and 19. I'm like, man, like I'm gonna find 600 yards where you're getting a 0. Like, fuck it. I'm gonna find a guy who can. I'm gonna find the Tank Dell. I'm gonna find, obviously not the Puka Nakua as a reasonable bet, but I'm gonna find that late round ass click that's going to be the difference on the margins, especially in an eliminator contest where I'm just picking up more live bodies. Cyrus Allen and Caleb Douglas clicks for real. Honestly, Cyrus Allen is one I might have to add to the menu. It gives me shades of the Sky Moore and the Jalen Royals. I don't want to be like a laundry bro, like pattern matching merchant, but like damn, like there's been so many times we've been fooled by these Chiefs. I mean, wasn't there even like a Justin Ross summer? Like, I don't know. But Cyrus Allen does potentially fit well in this offense as like an intermediate route runner on the boundary that can win. Like Rashee Rice really is only winning in the slot, and Tyquan Thornton is a deep ball merchant, and Travis Kelce's 40, and Xavier Worthy is the real wild card in all of this. I guess also to some extent Rashee Rice's health is. I mean, it doesn't seem like he's working in full right now. I haven't heard much concern about week 1 Rashee Rice, but like the fact he's not doing everything he's running routes against air and shit right now. Like, I don't know. He does. A couple of people on Twitter were saying they didn't think he was moving like perfectly at the moment. So we'll keep an eye on that as far as Rashee Rice goes. I don't know, man. It's gonna be really interesting to see. Yeah, Caleb Douglas click for real, bro. That's every day, bro. Cyrus Allen, I'm keeping my eye on. Rashee looks slow as fuck. He does. He just doesn't look right out there right now. Like, and Cyrus is like making legitimate plays. Now they're not like he's not getting the most separation, but it's like, okay, he's making crazy contested catches and earning the trust of Patrick Mahomes. That has to count for something. It at least makes him interesting. I mean, again, round 20, I want to be more open-minded where it's like, I really like targeting guys in round 20 where I'm like, I feel like this guy's a really good shot for 3 wide receiver sets. However, you do have to be mindful, especially on the eliminator style format for drafters where week 15, 16, 17 matters infinitely more than the regular season-long contest, because you're really trying to beat out other guys at this key time. A wide receiver 4, Travis Hunter, Cyrus Allen, Ted Hurst, these guys could, you're one injury away or one guy sucking absolute ass from getting in 3 wide receiver sets. God forbid there's multiple injuries, and in the event of like Parker Washington broke out last year, you saw it with Travis Hunter's injury. Brian Thomas is nicked up. Jacoby Myers is a new addition. Like, shit happens, and shit happens. The sentiment of shit happening matters way more in like this late season eliminator style. Where weeks 15 to 17 disproportionately matter to the other weeks. Rice looks like DB running out there. This is insane. But I have no data to deny it, so I'm going to actually roll with that. Switch to the main. Yeah, we could switch to the main. Al Boogie, if you want to switch to the main, we're making a pivotal last-moment switch to the main just to get this thing to fill, just to stay on track. So calling Al Boogie. We are getting in the main. Need 4 more. That'll just fill quicker, make it worth everyone's time. So appreciate everyone who's here hanging out. I got nothing to shill or sell, but appreciate y'all hanging out and chopping it up in the comments. If Adam has any more insights into derogatory DB Bets commentary, I am absolutely for it. But appreciate DB Bets drafting. Al Boogie hopping in. Who knows who will hop into this next draft, but I'm sure it'll be a good time. Need 2 more than that. This will be main draft number 105 for me on drafters, so looking forward to getting some more volume down there. I don't know if I'm going to max it just because this eliminator is so cool, but we'll see. Who gives a fuck what I do? It's always interesting when people are like, I think I'm going to do exactly 73 puppies. I think I'm going to stick to only 27 dachshunds. It's like, I don't give a fuck about that in the slightest. I couldn't think of anything less interesting than how much volume everyone gets down on everything. But this is the 105th one for, I don't know, again, reasons that couldn't possibly be pertinent to anyone except my financial advisor. Let's see, what else is going on in training camp right now? Xavier Legette looking like the wide receiver 3 for the Panthers. Immaterial, not good. Probably a decent chance Jimmy Horn could get in the mix there and muck it up. I don't think we've really got to get bricked up over Xavier Legette. 49ers trying out veteran running backs. I think that's just like, okay, we'll see what Kalen Black can do. I would take Kalen Black right now over Jordan James for the fact that, and this is just removing my personal bags from it where I have way more Jordan James. I would just say right now, Kalen Black is the guy who doesn't have a broken rib and has the chance to earn the job. And it was a close enough split before where, like, just take the guy who's healthy and has the opportunity to prove himself. There's a chance he could also suck a ton of ass and not earn it. But again, at this cost for Kalen Black, there's no opportunity cost. You might as well make that bet. And if you miss out on it, like, fine, it doesn't matter. If McCaffrey got hurt, Kalen Black and Jordan James probably split anyway. So it's like arguing over nothing. All right. Get the 6 hole here. It's not bad. DB bets at the 102. Didn't mean to leave you in the dust, Albugs, if you were depositing. This John filled fast as shit. Legette is ass. He is absolutely turbo ass. He's just not a good football player. It's not a great passing offense. So, if you do it round 20, I guess, but I think there's better round 20 picks. Like, give me Kendrick Bourne as a round 20 pick over, which sounds absurd to say, but give me Kendrick Bourne over Xavier Legette. Like, there's year 3 breakouts, but like, I would have liked to seen like one good thing from you if I'm going to like make a year 3 breakout case. I just don't really. There's other bets I want to make in that range, which again, it sounds super thin, but like Kendrick Bourne, I would, a fringe 49ers guy. I don't know. There's so many other options. Hey, I think I'm not going to get too cute here. I have a lot of McCaffrey, but just with the way the board falls, if I take Amon-Ra, I don't think I'm going to get a running back that I like. So I think structurally it's just got to be McCaffrey. If there's like 1 or 2 more running backs that went at pick 19, like, all right, but in the main, it really just comes down to if Christian McCaffrey is healthy, he's the best pick in round 1. The Pearsall injury certainly doesn't hurt his case for that. Whenever a lot of their top target earners go down, McCaffrey just gets spammed with targets. And, they still have Kittle, but they had Kittle last year. And Mike Evans definitely commands targets, but who's to say he's going to be healthy all the time? I just think McCaffrey is a really, really, great floor and great ceiling. Just stay healthy. It's pretty binary. And so if you're not taking, like, I don't know, 10% McCaffrey, I feel like you're not really covering your bases to like, we're baking in the fact that he could get hurt. Like if we didn't think he was getting hurt, I think it would be foolish to not take McCaffrey at the 101. And I was a little worried about him, earlier in the offseason, but I'm like, I can't pretend to be like Mr. Doctor guy, if McCaffrey plays, he's great. So it is what it is. All good. Had to update while trying to finish Underdog Limb. I feel you. My bad about that. But is it a slow or is it a fast? I guess it's a fast limb if you had to finish it. How'd the Eliminator turn out on Underdog? Let us know. Yeah, that drafter's up hitting different. Nothing really weird happening here. The way the board shakes out, James Cook would never happen. Kenneth Walker will probably not happen. So we're looking at the A.J. Brown, Achane, Derrick Henry. It's not like my favorite click. I'm not really into the Brock Bowers thing right now. It just doesn't really brick me up. A tight end attached to the Raiders in round 2. Cool. You can do that for me, sir. Appreciate you. Kenneth Walker falling is insane. Very happy for that to have happened. Oh boy, I got the 3 picks of ADP fullest. Back in the past that would happen all the time, but this year everyone's drafting off of a tool X, Y, or Z. So it's kind of fun to get a combo that isn't taken every time. Yeah, Fasted has Neighbors on it. It's a finalist in the Underdog Eliminator. Shout out, bro. Godspeed. Put belt to ass with some cheaper neighbors. They're saying even number years are Al Boogie's year. So I'm seeing the vision. I see it being a big year for Al Boogie. I'm seeing it being a big year for a lot of the pounders. Shout out to Fancy Dog Pound. That Discord, super active. I don't have a Discord because it would probably be a little bit of a problem. It might be a little problematic. So fuck that. We got DB pulling up Garrett Wilson to 23 on some big brain intelligence shit. See what else he does here. Maybe goes T. Higgins. Something unique in the main, bro. One thing about DB, he's not willing to flip the board for similar tiers. Devontae Smith. Damn, I was trying to reverse psychology him into like some T. Higgins so I could get another unique faller type shit. Sadly, it doesn't play in this room, but fuck it. It is what it is. Rashi Rice. Maybe I get it on the FUD tip. Jeremiah Love is probably going to keep going, but I'd be fine with him at 30. Like, it's not that deep. I would really like Trey McBride because I actually just love. I talk about it all the time. I don't need to keep beating the dead horse, but I just think McBride in round 3 is better than Bowers in round 2. The Olave pull-up is nice because we either get Rashi or McBride, so we're going to do one of those two. Whatever falls here. And we don't have to really care about buys with it being a, just the main. Kenneth Walker and Rashi on the same team, I think that's cool. Don't really, it's unique enough. Kind of hope he takes Rashi in some ways. I just like McBride more. I might do right here. Neighbors. I forgot about Neighbors. That actually might have been the pull-up. McCaffrey, Walker, Rice or McBride. This is an interesting spot. Let's just stay unique, whatever. I mean, maybe Rashi starts to tumble. I don't think he will, though. So we'll make a little Chiefs bet. Maybe it ends up being a Mahomes team, maybe not. So we'll see. I don't think this is going to become the new normal. These are all 3 guys who are falling-ish, but I don't really think McBride should be there. But Chiefs DB bets in round 3, absolute. Cyrus Allen backup in round 3 is insane. Hey, who knows? I might have just absolutely sold this fun little McCaffrey Walker start. Or actually, I just drafted the shipper. Have you ever heard of the leg up, whatever the fuck tool? Patrick Mahomes 35% is the optimal, and if you don't draft that way, you're a fucking retard. So just understand that. Thank you. Okay, Jalen Waddle would be an option. Josh Jacobs is a guy who projects pretty well. Obviously, he's getting into domestic disturbances allegedly. I mean, I even believe that. But Josh Jacobs is here. I kind of like that. Yeah, fuck it. Let's just do Josh Jacobs and keep applying some pressure at running back. Cyrus Allen back up in round 3 is insane. Is insane as a comment, though. I mean, I don't love Rashi Rice, the talent. Is he good at football? Not really. Is he a product of the system? Pretty much. But he's still in that system, So that counts for something, right? I think we're going to get, a bit of a pass. Now, you could argue Kenneth Walker might not materially fit awesome in terms of like a Walker and Rice team. Like, does Rashi have his pinnacle ceiling with Walker? Does one's success come at the expense of the other? But it's also possible that Xavier Worthy's running clear out routes. This is the copium story I'm telling for this team. Xavier Worthy's running like clear out routes, gets his like 500-600 yards. Travis Kelce's old as shit. And then it's just more slot stuff for Rashi Rice with, a less mobile Mahomes. You pepper him with targets. And then Kenneth Walker, just feasting, goal line. The combination of Rice and Walker could end up scoring a shitload of touchdowns. This will probably have to be a Patrick Mahomes team. I would. Whoa, Tootin and P-Wash. Okay. Go off, white boy. Actually, I don't know. Someone said DB Betts. I don't know what race he is. So let me know in the comments below what race you think DB Betts is. But I was going to say white boy with a little bit of motion. But who's to say what he is? But I support and I accept him and I love him. no matter what he is, and that is the most important thing. That's the Canadian in me speaking. We got maybe Mike Evans fall would be nice. Devontae Adams is always cool. Um, those would be probably my main two here. Bucky pull up could be interesting, but you got enough at running back with McCaffrey, especially like McCaffrey's hitting your lineup every week. Um, he's Chinese. I'm glad that that is the case because I had a couple tickets at 2,000 for DB bets being Chinese, and he confirmed it here. So that long shot bet absolutely hits in a major way. Mike Evans just making the San Francisco bet, cucking my RB1s with receiver ones again. Is there anything else to really consider here? I just moved the Pearsall thing. It just funnels a little bit nicely to Evans, so that's cool. But shout out to DB Bets being Chinese. That's awesome. Top Click Tuesday, and now Guess the Race Friday. Yeah, exactly. There's something for everybody in this space. As more and more people enter the best ball streaming space, if you have your people who get like 100 viewers at a time, you have your people who get like 500 viewers at a time, you have your people who get like 4 viewers at a time. But that's on the margins. You got to corner the market for everybody. Everyone needs their show. Okay, we have enough who does the sim tool say is the best click here? We have enough of that show. Okay, we guess the race Friday, and guess what? That might become a recurring segment. I'm going to start streaming a bit more on Drafters. I like this Eliminator tournament. That might be like a staple of the show, like every day. Like someone in chat is getting their race guessed expeditiously. Not as much of a ring to it, but we will workshop it. It is a working title, Guess the Race Friday. We could workshop the alliteration angle a little bit. Like the fuck are you Friday? Like the fuck are you Friday? Like what are you? Who are you? These are all things we're gonna have to talk to the legal team. We're gonna talk to everybody pertinent on that, but we'll figure it out. Marvin Harrison, Jadarian Price, Joe Burrow, Jalen Warren, Jordan Tyson. I think Jadarian Price would be pretty cool at this cost. Yeah, I think he's going to rise in the coming days and weeks. Sorry, Helani bros, Helani boys, if you will, of which I am the leader. So, apologizing to myself first and foremost, but I just think Jadarian Price, like his first round running back at pick 67, working in with the first team. We just don't have to get too cute there, and you don't want to have none of that type of archetype. So, as he runs up, do I want him in like the 50s as much? No, 67. That's pretty cool. Pretty strong running back room right now, and we have two, assuming health, big ifs. Rashee Rice and Mike Evans, like holding it down a little bit at receiver for a bit. So I think we're chilling. But again, appreciate everyone tuning in through the race segments, through the football segments, the injuries, this and that. Everyone just hanging out, having a good time. Too bad I have bags of Price in the 100s. Not in this contest, you don't, sir. But no, you're probably trying again. I'm telling you, even year Al Boogie, it's a problem. Shrek gif. It's only one team. For this that I'm doing, or you're saying your price in the 100s bags. Is that post draft or pre draft? Because I know when BBM first opened, like it was a bit of a Wild West type situation on Price. All right, 2 away. Damn, draft is ripping. DB goes T-Law pull up, nice. Okay, so he stacks his quarterbacks. That's pretty chilling. It's a fun pull up and interesting start for him. You got Gibbs and Tootin. I like that pairing. I'm fucking with that team. I like flipping it to the other side of the board because you're not going to get Parker at 71 anymore, really like that. So if you're going to do it, you might as well do it how he did it, not to glaze. So if I'm going Mahomes next round, is there a receiver here that I feel good with as my receiver 3? QJ just doesn't brick me in the slightest. Like, it kind of sucks. Honestly, all these guys kind of suck. We're going to do a little weird pull-up and get a little thin. We're going to be a little thin at receiver up top. But we'll do a craft pull-up, and then we're going to do Mahomes. Like, Quentin Johnston was there. Like, I could not care less about 5 picks of ADP value on Quentin Johnston. Just an unserious way to approach life. I do have post draft one team for sure. I'll post in Discord. Nice, man. That's fucking sick. Preston 100's post draft is some nice leverage. Hopefully you didn't pair it with Ricky Pearsall. Can't take the glaze back. You would be surprised, brother. You'd be surprised at the amount, if you really stretch the urethra to its humanly limits and you just start trying to re-jam it back in there. Now, it gets a little complicated because then it oozes back out. You exerted, you excreted, I should say, medically speaking, the glaze, but then you try to put it back in. It seeps back out. It's a whole problem. Uh, Science is working on it every day, but end of the day, you are right. I can't truly put the glaze back in the tube, um, sadly. But needless to say, we're cooking up a 4-2-1 here. Assuming nobody takes Mahomes, that will be the click. Dak Faller, but just doesn't really matter when you've made such a concentrated bet on Kenneth Walker, Rashi Rice. Sure, it's not stacking in the traditional sense in this season-long main contest, but like you have made a correlated bet that these are going to be players that define the season. You need them to be scoring more points than everyone else. At a certain point, just stack up the quarterback if you made multiple bets like that. So, and then you could say, well, Kenneth Walker is going to be good because he's going to score a lot of rushing touchdowns, blah, blah, blah. I get that. Mm, mm. Fuck all that Mahomes shit, bro. I don't give a fuck about some fucking Patrick Mahomes torn ACL ass, bro. I'm a Jordan Love merchant. Fuck you mean? I don't care about Patrick Mahomes, but I could get sniped on him. That'd be diabolical as shit. We're trying to push it though, because no one behind us has Mahomes right now, and the only person who would have sniped me was DB. Now he can do it and really fuck his team up. I wouldn't care that much, because then I'd just get Jordan Love and a better flex player. But I assume he's going to stay in structure. Team has Najee might be the shipper. That's fucking crazy, bro. Big Naj in May or April is insane. But hey, he could sign. Bodies are hitting the floor. Knock on wood. Hopefully, it's not someone you have a bag of. But I think Najee has to sign somewhere eventually. Right now, whether he contributes or not is a real question. But I think he's kind of sitting back and letting the field develop. Al Pierce Snipe was diabolical. I would have to agree. Um, Rico Dowdle falls nice though. Yeah, that Alec Pierce snipe was brutal. All right, we'll see. I mean, maybe Mahomes does fall back. I don't really care though. I care a lot actually. Jesus Christ, DB! I swear to God, don't do it for the bit. Thank you, thank you. Okay, I probably still don't get him. I mean, Jackson Dart's fine. In the event that we don't get Mahomes, um, we're just saying that Kenneth Walker scores a lot of rushing and touchdowns, and Rashid Rice is just like not a smash, but like just pays off. Pick 30 because we got him half a round cheaper than he normally goes, so that's fine. Fuck it. In the event Mahomes goes, I think Dart is fine. Is there anything else stackable? Yeah, no Purdy. So Stafford goes. I mean, fuck it. The Gainwell fall does absolutely nothing for this team. So yeah, like if that was like a sick running back, maybe, but like if we needed running back, but we don't. So Patrick Mahomes, the greediness pays off. Sometimes I'm willing to get greedy. Sometimes I'm not. If DB Bets had one quarterback, I would not have pushed it. Um, but knowing he had two, I don't think he cares more about bits than winning. So, and he got a good turn there with Dowdle and Pitts. So, fuck it. So now we got Mahomes, 4 sick running backs with McCaffrey, Walker, Jacobs, Price, Rashi, Evans, and Reed, Kraft. We'll see if anything falls back at receiver crazy here. I don't really see anything. I'm just probably shaping this up as a Jordan Love team. And then we're showing at quarterback for a minute. And then we just piss out of our cocks for a second. So that's kind of where I think this thing is going. Anyone else in here that I recognize? Not really. Young Jameson. Yeah, no, I'm not really recognizing anyone else here. But yeah, it's interesting this round 10 now with Pearsall being fucking cooked. A lot of these receivers are just like the most blah picks ever. I just don't. Were these okay? I don't think we want to do too many more Chiefs on this team though. Just doesn't really brick me. Like once you make like such a big bet on Walker and Rice, it's got to come at the expense of Worthy at some point, right? Like Jacoby Myers, if we believe in the Parker and BTJ narratives to the extent we do, can we really see a ceiling for Myers? I mean, he's fine. It's like hitting a single, but I don't know. Do I have to hit a single in round 10? Can I hit a single in like round 15, round 13 even? Whatever. Like Jordan Love, perfect. The greed, a lot of times it doesn't pay off, but this time it does. We got Mahomes double stacked, Love double stacked. Cool. Run it. This might be the shipper for real if we can land the plane at receiver. Because we filled out our starting lineup well. We just need some bodies at receiver. But, you know, maybe a running back, like a Manungai falling back or an Aaron Jones is moderately interesting, depending on all the names across the world. Kittle and Kelsey are also interesting, just how they project. So let's see. Let's see how everything shakes out here. I don't think we want to make actually the Kittle bet without Purdy already having two 49ers. So even if Kittle's there, I think we'll probably pass on that. And we'll just we'll just lean into the Kraft being elite bet and now just kind of stack some bodies at receiver. So Khalil Shakir is actually not a terrible pick for this team on some, you know, when everything else is humming, you know, you've invested in quarterback, you invested really hard in running back and tight end, you know, you've made your like elite bet, so to speak. God damn, I think I have a lot of week 11 buys here. Yeah, 5 so far. All right, I think we want to probably hold off on any week 11 buys the rest of this draft, ideally. Khalil Shakir just makes sense for this team. So yeah, so to put a bow on the point I was making, you know, running backs, when you go lighter at running back to start, sometimes you just need like a Jordan Mason or, you know, whoever, like a J.K. Dobbins, someone not with crazy upside, but just like, okay, we're holding down the fort with some projectable volume. We're setting a baseline, right? And when you have a room like I have where you didn't attack it with volume early, it's nice to have like one guy like Shakir in addition to Rice, but Rice is higher ceiling, more expensive. A middle round guy like Shakir can kind of buoy that floor for you and kind of hold it down so you're not faced with some egregious wide receiver 3 weeks. Like now I feel pretty comfortable with having started the way I did. And, you know, I think Shakir is going to hold us down. Not with crazy ceiling, but with a good enough floor where we're staying in the mix. We can't really do week 11, I don't think. Personally, Stephon Diggs is cool. Jalen Naylor is cool. One of those two guys will be the pick coming up here. Again, just structurally doesn't make sense to go running back with this investment. We're showing a running back for a hot minute, barring a crazy fall. Quarterback, I think we could take, but I just don't think it's structurally prudent. And there's nothing really at tight end bricking me at the moment. So I think we go Stephon Diggs here. I think he's going to sign with the Commanders pretty soon. John Keim is talking about it. Jeremy Fowler's talking about it. It seems to be, I think there's like an implied betting market probability, at least at one shop. I don't know if it's like the unanimous thing, that he's about like an 83% minus 495 to go to the commies. So I just think that's a thing that's going to happen. And once that happens, Stephon Diggs is going in the 80s, 90s, whatever. He ain't going here. And you're going to wish you had it. And I think he's going to project really well on a weekly basis. You know, he was top 10 in like a ton of important metrics, like yards per route run, turning in a 1,000-yard season, coming off an ACL, not getting the full workload is just crazy, bro, when you really think about it. So I think Stephon Diggs is just a giga smash in this round. Now, you don't always want to take him. You know, as we saw this week, guys get hurt, things happen. But he's a pretty decent priority here, given the fact that A, he's good at football, B, he's going to an offense that is going to have a lot of projectable volume for him, and that's really what it comes down to. And he's going to move up, so better to pack your bags at this price than in the 90s, for example. So Rice, Evans, Reed, Shakir, Diggs. Actually, not too bad. Juwan Johnson was interesting, but he goes. No real targets at tight end here. Bryce Young doesn't correlate with anything. I don't feel the need to do that. Running back sucks. Jalen McMillan's all right. But I think we're going to do Ryan Flournoy here. I've been trying to mix it up a little bit. Get a little bit of a Flournoy bag going. He's just so good at football. And I want to leave a light on for A, the fact that he consolidates the wide receiver 3 role, like meaningfully, like there's no Turpin and none of this other shit. And then just the fact of the contingent, like we saw whenever Lamb missed time, if Pickens misses time, I think Flournoy could just explode. And I don't want to just be like, does it make sense to take so much Jalen McMillan and no Flournoy? Like, they're similar bets, except the Cowboys probably throw for more yards, and there's not a Ted Hurst knocking at Flournoy's door the way there is for McMillan. So honestly, you can make a pretty compelling case that now in McMillan's case, you could at least say, well, maybe there's a wide receiver 4 that's coming up on him. Pause. But, oh, bro, trust me, we're not panicking. You're about to learn who the next pick is expeditious. I mean, Joe McMillan would be crazy at 163. I'm thinking it's going to be Denzel Boston, though. But, I mean, at 163, Joe McMillan. Okay, yeah, he goes 162. That would have been the pick. Yeah, get ready to learn Denzel Boston, wide receiver 7, buddy. You thought it was a wrap? Imagine sleeping, bro. You slept on the kid. They ship Pickens out to keep cheaper Pickens? Damn, that'd be crazy bad for my bags because I have some Pickens and I do not have that much Flournoy. But for this team, for the shipper, hey, I could see it. I think they're going to try to like genuinely win this year in Dallas. I think they pay him after this year. He's just like, Pickens is like the exact type of guy that you like want playing on as many contract years as possible, so he stays motivated. I think they want to see it one more time out of him because he also kind of tailed off at the end last year. George Pickens did. I think there was a little bit of questionable effort down the stretch. I'm like, all right. I kind of get where Dallas is coming from. Like, nah, do that shit again. So yeah, I go Denzel Boston. DB Betts goes Alvin Kamara. There's obviously levels to this shit, as you can see on full display. Probably just gonna toggle over to running back, see if there's anything here. Tight end. Greg Dulcich, Hawkinson. It's not a bad tight end range. Dulcich could be in play here. Dumbass. Hoping Omar Cooper falls back. Obviously, there was a classic misdirect. Never wanted never wanted Greg Dulcich to begin with. Definitely didn't talk positively about him at the beginning of this episode and how I think he could be a good volume pick. We're trying to get Omar Cooper here, 10 picks after Denzel Boston, which would be insane. But hey, we're in that time of year where people don't take, some of the casuals don't take guys they don't know the name of, and he goes. God damn it. Jalen McMillan at 163 and Omar Cooper at 174 would have been nicey. All right, let's get someone else in the queue so we don't take fucking bum-ass Ricky Pearsall. Tight end here is cool. these running backs are kind of buns, but Marshawn Lloyd. Let's go Schultz. He just projects really well. I attacked receiver pretty strongly for a minute there, especially with Rice Evans, up top. We're chilling at receiver for a minute. Schultz is just going to project better, and I think a couple tight ends could rip off back here. Actually, a lot of these people have 3. So the people on the other side of the board that all have 1 or 2. But needless to say, I don't think Schultz is coming back, and he projects well. Projects better than all these guys. So could even end up going third tight end with the next pick, seeing as these running backs are butt, these quarterbacks are cheeks. Dontavian Wicks will be the pick if he comes back. I just think he projects pretty well. There's going to be a little bit of a learning curve potentially for Mekhi Lemon. I think Mekhi Lemon finishes the year as the wide receiver too, but Wicks is a good player, man, and he could be utilized well with Sean Mannion coming over from Green Bay. So you're the reason why I have 19% Dulcich with 40 pick CLV. Many are saying, I know you're saying that facetiously, but many are saying, and the many, it may or may not be me and my team of burners, but it's 4 against 1, sadly. Cooper Jr. snipe, yeah, that was a brutal snipe. Did I deserve him in the first place? Probably not, but I thought it almost happened. Would have been nice. Just getting my cock absolutely teased with the McMillan and Cooper thing. But again, you can't be like, oh, I didn't get 20 picks of CLV. This is fucking unfair. Like, it is what it is. His running backs are butt. T. Ferg might be nice. Yeah. T. Ferg or Wicks. I just don't think we can do more week 11s. So we're going to do Wicks. And I feel the Wicks steam coming on. So we'll get some bum-ass tight end 3 on this team. Kraft is holding it down anyway. Let's see. DB structurally got the 2.56.2. It's chilling. Yeah. Yeah, I just can't bank on a snipe like that. That would have been very cool, but sadly wasn't meant to be. Denzel Boston. Give me Denzel Boston straight up over Omar Cooper. Every day, Denzel Boston of minicamp and training camp is making massive plays, generating hype. Omar Cooper's like whatever. So, like, is it a little more unique to have Omar Cooper? But like, Denzel Boston should be going 20 to 30 picks over Omar Cooper, even accounting for the fact that Geno is probably better than Shooter. Like, I just don't care. I think Denzel Boston went higher in the draft process up until like the last, like all last year, you would be like, yeah, Denzel Boston's better than Omar Cooper. And then like the last month and a half, they're like, actually, Omar Cooper's better. It's like, all right, bro, whatever you want to say. Let's hear a crazy drum beat on Omar Cooper before I take him over Denzel Boston, who looks to me like the second coming of Cortland Sutton, but like the young version that's not old as shit. Bateman in the queue. Is there anything at tight end? No, these tight ends are fucking aids. They had running back. A couple interesting names. I really just feel like this Bateman thing is going to get away from us. Mahomes and Love. Let's just keep hammering receivers that we think can really contribute. We caught up. Obviously, we've invested a lot. I'd hope we have caught up. But Rashee Rice, Evans, Reed, Shakir, Diggs, Flournoy, Boston, Wicks, Bateman. Between that and the running backs, I think we're absolutely cooking in the flex. It's like an insane level every week. And it's not like we're ass at tight end, and it's not like we're ass at quarterback. So this team feels pretty good here. I'm definitely going to add on, a third quarterback and add on a third tight end at some point. But I think we're chilling as of right now. Queue up next Puka. Cypress Allen is fucking egregious. I'll be doing no such thing, although it is correlated. So I will give you that. And you can absolutely clip this when Cyrus Allen breaks out and gapes me. I just don't love triple stacking in. I guess there's a good case for it, but I just want to see a little more. I don't know. I had the Cyrus Allen thing. It feels like it came out of nowhere so hard, bro, that I'm like, I don't know. It's hard for me to wrap my mind around, but it's a good shout. It's definitely a good shout. Yeah, I need another week or two of the Cyrus Allen thing. If I'm late to the party, fuck it. But it's definitely a good shot for sure. Yeah, these quarterbacks are buns. How many DB Betts has two? He could go a third. He's got Judy. Hmm. Hmm. I think Kirk. Well, Shadur was going to be the pick. Um. Let's just genuinely go. Oh God, these guys suck ass. I think Kirk Cousins plays way more than Mendoza this year. I could be totally wrong on that. I see how the odds are not in my favor historically. Usually, the first overall pick plays early. It's a lot of it is in Mendoza's hands. Like in underdog, I would absolutely take Mendoza over Kirk Cousins. Mendoza will be the starter for the playoff weeks, but this is a season-long contest. I'm trying to buy starts. I'm trying to buy a quarterback that's going to start when Mahomes is on bye. That's my QB1. I would like to have two quarterbacks that week, ideally, and I just don't think Mendoza is playing week 5. Um, so yeah, we're just going to do Kirk Cousins. I think I would not do it if I was the Raiders, but I think the way Tom Brady has talked about wanting there to be like a learning curve, and the way that the GM, Spytek, and the coach talk about it, the way that they asserted immediately week 1, the Caleb Douglas snipe isn't egregious, but very sharp. Uh, just the way that they've talked about it in lockstep. I don't know. I feel like we have to be mindful of the fact that this is not a organization that feels pressure to produce immediately. Like Tom Brady is secure. Obviously, he's a part owner. He's got his fingerprint. Like people trust Tom Brady. They're not going to just be like battering down the door to like get Mendoza in there. If Tom Brady says this is the right thing to do, people will trust him, I believe. Um, so I think this organization has more runway to like let Cousins have a leash. I don't know. Could be the wrong read on it, but it's just what they've been saying as well. So all right, for tight end 3 here, we're gonna take a play out of the DB Betts playbook and go Eric All as tight end 3. But RB5, do we even need that? Mm. Let's get Eric All and then just think about it. I don't think we even need RB5. We could. We're obviously done at quarterback. We can be done at tight end, but we could do another. It's kind of a luxury pick between running back, receiver, and tight end. Just for the week 11 buy stuff. And the thing is, these running backs are just fucking ass. And they'll never hit over, like 99.8% of the time, they're never hitting over McCaffrey, Walker, Jacobs Price. Like, I don't know. Like, do you handcuff Walker? I don't think so. I think we might genuinely go for running back with it. These tight ends are ass. I'm not doing this Michael Mayer shit. Charlie Kolar is low Kirkuinly interesting. Let's see. Not falling for that KLS shit again. Absolutely not, bro. That Brennan Thompson shit. I mean, he's Mike McDaniel's guy, but yeah, I'm not falling for that KLS ass. And saying we're both at 105. All right, let me lock in, and then I'll get back to the chat. It's just receivers here who can like legitimately contribute. Even like Darius Slayton is not. How many week 11s do we have? Hella. All right, Darius Slayton is a guy with a pulse. Is Darius Slayton more likely to do something than a Tucker Craft? If Tucker Craft gets hurt, I'm fucked anyway. So let's just do Darius. I'm not a pussy. Jalen Noel. Not a pussy, guys. I swear. Seriously. You just have to take my word for it. Yeah, Jalen Noel. He's cool. I mean, Darius Slayton probably genuinely projects better, but Jalen Noel. I'm not going to get knocked off my pivot, over a little finger injury. DB William about to stream. Maybe you can do better there. Yo, soft ass room, bro. No, I'm playing. But yeah, exactly. He's absolutely shook. Neighbors just went 112. Damn. In the DB bets room, I could see it. Sharp. Cyrus Allen. Yeah, heavy on the Psy. Yeah, the new flavor. That absolutely not my flavor. I will not be sampling that. I won't be tasting it. It won't be going in my body. DeMarcado, that's actually not a bad shot as the RB2. 26 Hunt, that would be fucking terrible for this team. But he's not a bad. The one thing that knocked me off DeMarcado was like they were talking about the Brashard Smith RB2 today. I'm like, hold up. Let's reevaluate. I have like one DeMarcado around 20 share. I think that's probably where I want to cap it. Check DB's team, see who you need to snipe. I was way too locked in. Kolar, damn, the chat was buzzing. My bad. I should have peeped. Yeah, Kolar's not a bad shout. I probably could have used just a nut ass running back or tight end there, but applying real belt to ass at receiver, especially with Mike Evans' injury, all these guys feel like they're fucking risky, and pretty much leaning into a healthy McCaffrey year. Honestly, this would not have been a bad Jordan James ass team, but I digress. Patrick Mahomes, Jordan Love, Kirk Cousins. Cousins holding it down for week 5, maybe 8-10 starts. Fuck it. Mahomes and Love. Stacked up. We got McCaffrey, Walker, Jacobs, Price. If these guys do their job, we're absolutely printing at least the top 2 running backs, and one of them is going to hit the flex a decent amount. Rashee Rice, Evans, Reed, Shakir, Diggs, Flournoy, Boston, Wicks, Bateman, and Noel. That's a pretty sick receiver room. So we got a sick running back room, I feel like. We got a sick receiver room, I feel like. Kirk Cousins, please start a bunch of games. Packers, please play fast. And then we've got, the tight end stud breakout, rebound, I should say, Bet and Kraft, Dalton Schultz, and Eric All, perchance. Did Ricky actually go in round 20? I mean, I guess that's technically not the worst thing ever. Oh, man. Okay, I fuck it. Pick 239. Why not, right? Is it probably a 0? Sure, but so are most of these guys. All right, DB. We got the Jalen Hurts Lawrence. I think that's enough at quarterback. I like that better than Shedeur and Watson. Gibbs, Tootin, Dowdle, Monangai, Kamara, and Kalen Black. Good layering of projectable volume, star upside, and contingent plays. Garrett Wilson, Devontae Smith, Washington, Myers, Shaheed, Naylor, Judy, Caleb Douglas, Pearsall. Yeah, it's a sus Edwards ass receiver room. Pulled up a couple of guys, but again, nothing wrong with flipping the board as long as a tier's kind of flat. And you could argue Parker Washington is in that tier of receivers, at pick 50. So might as well get unique. And then Kyle Pitts, Dulcich Farmer. Yeah, it's a good team. I fuck with this team more than the last one you did. Not that you gave a fuck, but 2 105s, same draft. I mean, there's a little bit of numerology in that. I don't know what that would possibly mean, but hey, maybe we both call it a day. And I know you said you might keep it, DB, to only 105 drafts, and maybe this is when I retire as well. Or maybe it's when I absolutely dust you. Who's to say? But that was a fun time drafting. Appreciate you guys popping in. That's going to be it for me today. Hit the like if you want. I guess it helps the algorithm. But, I don't know if calling people retarded in the chat is going to help the algorithm. So it might be a wash. So I guess it really is important to hit like in the event that it could overweigh it. So appreciate you guys tuning in. Appreciate DB, Stars, Al Boogie, Fuck Coolers, Adam. We got back to the top. Who else was in here? Pre-bunk my own foreman. My bad if I missed anyone, but yeah, appreciate you guys tapping in and drafting Al Boogie. Appreciate you, man. Have a great Friday night, and happy drafting. And catch you next time, maybe tomorrow or the day after, doing the same shit on Drafters. Peace.